glad you could stay with us here on Village Square Africa. Let's get into our conversation now. Joining us from Sierra Leone, our Gift Akwa Guagu, who's lead member for West Africa Youth for Peace and Election Observer in Port Loko. We also have Hamidu Ansumana, who's over the phone. He is election observer. He's joining us from Freetown. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to the square. I'm going to start with you, Gift. You observed the elections. What would be your summary of how things took place over the last few days?
Okay, thank you very much. So I and my team were at Port Loko, northern part of Sierra Leone, the rural area, and election was peaceful. But that district happens to be the stronghold of the APC candidates, and we had good run, and we also tallied the votes in peace. Everything was peaceful. Going on after the elections, I moved to Freetown, so I've been in Freetown observing everything going on in Freetown until yesterday. There was also peace in Freetown until yesterday when it was declared the SLPP candidate was declared winner of the election as president, and there was a bit of tension. There was a bit of it was the SLPP people were all excited while there was all sad for the APC group, the APC party and agents. So there was a bit of tension at the time. Realized that they went to the market, disrupting a lot of people, disrupting businesses, disrupting. So it was a lot of tension at that point because I was at Victoria Park at the point, and then they also closed down the market. They closed down the market that they wanted to announce the result and that people should go home. And then all of a sudden, they called the results, they announced the winner, and there was a lot of, the atmosphere changed. It was obvious that the atmosphere changed and there was a lot of disruption. I also got a news that somebody was attacked at the APC office. I don't have verified news about what transpired, but I got information that the person was killed. So somebody was killed.
I want us to look at the events that took place at the APC headquarters a little later, but let's pick the initial comments of Hamidu as well. Hamidu, speaking of Freetown, while you tell us about your observations during the election, I'd like you to begin for us what the atmosphere is like today, right now, in Freetown.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. Today, as of now, as we are speaking, Freetown is calm. Last night there was celebrations everywhere in Freetown and all over the country, but as of now, today is 8th day, so people are just coming from prayer sessions and everybody is preparing to go about their normal businesses. So Freetown is peaceful.
Talk about your observation of the, of the elections. There are those who have questioned the credibility of these elections. You observed the elections. What would you say you saw in regards to its credibility?
Well, I believe that the election was observed by local and international observers from the AU, the ECOWAS, Commonwealth, and a lot of other international observers. So they are actually giving a mixed feelings about the election, about the outcome of the election, the results, and everything. But from my own perspective, from what I gathered, from what I saw on the ground, transparency was there, and the credibility of the ECSL for me, I can't doubt it, and I can say for fact that whoever is saying this or that, it's mostly coming from party perspectives. It's mostly coming from political party point of views. Yeah.
Gift, from where you sit observing events that took place over the last few days, what do you say on the question of credibility, on the question of transparency of the entire electoral process?
Yeah, so like I said, a lot of international observers, EU was there, ECOWAS, I was able to work with ECOWAS, and we also had Commonwealth. So I can say it was transparency, like you said, and I wouldn't want to speak about if there was any rigging or whatnot, because I observed that the stronghold, the APC had a stronghold in the rural area, because I was able to observe what's local, and I also had some conversation with some of my colleagues that observed the rural area. They also confirmed that it was APC stronghold. So it was a thing of, I think it was a thing of rural urban competition, or will I say rural urban kind of thing. So it now depended on the majority. That's the place with the higher number. So that, I think that was how the election was conducted. So I can say for a fact that there was transparency, there was credibility, and the results was just, if you look at the percentage, you see that it's not so much margin. So it was just based off of the urban people had more population, and then the rural people had the lesser population, and I think that was how he emerged victorious in the election.
I see. So, Hamidu, would you go as far as saying perhaps the concerns of the opposition APC are unfounded, especially when, according to you, the elections were free and fair? And just a little background of what the opposition has said so far for our viewers. The opposition has talked about overvoting. The opposition has talked about lack of transparency because some results came in. They had no idea which districts they had come from. What's your view on the opposition's stand at the moment?
The thing about election is a lot of people will have their own opinion, and I think I'll speak on the results coming in late. It could be that the collations, because some other we had issues with collating results, so it could be that the collations were not done in good time. So as at the time the results came in, it felt like the results came in late, and of course that could be questioned, but I don't think that can be seen as a thing of lack, or a case of lack of credibility. So it was just a case of wrong timing when the results came in. So the election was free and fair. The only issue, like I said, I had was the fact that some people were not allowed to vote, and they were saying why they were not allowed, which was lack of voters cards, some not seen on the voters registration. So I think that was the only issue with the election, but it was free, it was fair and peaceful.
I see. So, I mean, for those people who were disenfranchised, they didn't have a say in the election. What would you expect the Electoral Commission to do in this case?
I think proper preparation will go a long way. My team, my colleague and I have made several recommendations for future elections, which is try to make sure that everyone who would be voting is registered, and everyone who will be voting gets their voters card in time, so that nobody would be lagging, nobody would be deprived of casting their vote. So yeah, we also talked about bringing materials in good time, because I know a lot of people had to vote. They were all frustrated because ballot boxes were late. So in subsequent elections, the ACSL should do well to make sure that they do proper planning for elections, so people can cast their votes and also make it count.
Well, so that is, on the part of voters, but on the part of organization itself, for you as observers, for the Sierra Leonean Elections Commission, what are some of the challenges that you think should be paid attention to, for future elections?
So yeah, I think I and my colleagues, we had issues with lightning while the collation was done. Observers were not able to see the collation properly because at the time the collation started, it was about 5. Some people started 5:36 and it was already dark. And most of these centers, polling centers, were in classrooms. So I think they need to do better with proper lighting for these polling stations, these polling centers, so that by the time to see how these votes are being counted for proper credibility. So I think the ECSL needs to do better in that regard as well.
Indeed. I want us to come back to the politics of the elections now. We've talked about, organizational challenges and how to deal with it in the future. Let's discuss the politics. Going into the elections, one of the things that people talked about the most was this was going to be a referendum on, the President Bio, as far as, the living conditions in Sierra Leone was concerned. Now, he won with over 1.5 million votes over there. How significant is this win, not only for the president, but also for Sierra Leone as a whole?
Basically, I think we just need to see that the president, the new elected president, puts the needs of the people in place, and then see how he can serve the people of Sierra Leone better. Work towards making a better Sierra Leone for the people. So yeah. I think that's what needs to be done.
There are those who think that the second term would be worse off than the first term, given the history of leaders who, the first term is when they need to impress you for a second term. And the second term, they really do not have much to lose. How hopeful are you that, beyond his strides in education and women's rights, there would actually be an economic turnaround as far as the fortunes of Sierra Leone is concerned? How hopeful are you on that score?
I'm going to speak based on my observation. The people are happy, and for the people to be so excited about the win, it means they are optimistic. It means it means there's a lot of work has been done. Of course, people will definitely have their own sides. Some people will say the ruling party has not done so well for the Sierra Leone people, but for this kind of celebration is to tell you that they are optimistic about a better Sierra Leone, and they have experienced something for them to come out in mass to celebrate this win. So yeah, I think the economy is going to improve. I think the elected president is going to work better for the Sierra Leone people. Yeah.
Well, we are going to put a pause on our conversation right now, take a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at other issues around the elections. Don't go away. Our discussion today is around Sierra Leone's elections. Now we know that the incumbent has been sworn in for a second term, but of course, the opposition is unhappy about the results, which they say threatens democracy. Still with me is Gift Akwa Guagu. She is lead member for West Africa Youth for Peace and Election Observer. We also have Hamidou Ansimana, who was also an election observer in Freetown. We've been having a discussion about things reported, things said, and they've been giving us their perspective on the matter. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you so much for your company on the square. Gift, I do want us to go back to events at the APC headquarters after the elections. We've seen videos of security personnel gassing the premise of the APC headquarters. We've had people who were inside, who were crammed up in one room, and you know, the voice of a woman saying her daughter has asthma at the time when, you know, all of this was happening. We understand one person was found without a pulse, and as she said, there is it's unverified at this point whether or not the person died. I do want you to talk to us about an event of that sort and what impact it's had, if any, on the elections.
The event actually happened after the voting, and it was an observation. It was something I happened to stumble upon while I was going towards Victoria Park, and then I saw the armies guarding the space, and I asked the driver what happened, and he had told me that they had attacked the APC office the night before, and that somebody was killed. And so I can't really say based off of the what happened, because I don't want to give unverified news. But yeah, there was a bit of tension. A lot of people were scared, and I even noticed people were not able to go about their daily activities. People were not able to. So many shops were locked. Sorry, as a result of what happened the night before. So yeah, this I can say had a negative impact on the election and the people situated around the area. So yeah.
Indeed, which brings me to the concern about whether or not the opposition stand now outrightly rejecting the election results could be a source of concern over stability in Sierra Leone. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's a possibility that of course we do not want war, we do not want something, we don't want it to go overboard. But if of course the opposition party says the result of the election was not credible enough, it could cause a lot of tension, and then there could be collision between both parties. That's what I see. I think the security needs to come in, the security personnel need to come in and see that they resolve, do more like a dialogue, and then see how this can be resolved. Because if the opposition party is saying, no, I won the election, and the ruling party is saying, no, they won the election, it could cause collision, and there could be, you know, something else we don't want. So yeah, there's a high possibility of, because as of yesterday, there was tension. I have not stepped out. I don't know what it is right now, but there could be, you know, we say that we cannot say if something is peaceful at the time until after the result has been announced. I kept saying that I can say that something is peaceful until after the result has been announced. So the result has been announced, and we are seeing the reactions of people, we are seeing the reactions of both parties. So the security needs to come in to try to make sure that it does not escalate.
I see. So I want us to talk about the APC a bit longer. Samura has been trying to, you know, get into the presidency. In 2018, the elections went into a runoff, and then he was beat by a slim margin afterwards. Now we know he was beat by almost 15%, in this election. Would you say that the APC should be reconsidering a new candidate, perhaps in his bid to want to beat the SLPP in the future? Could this be an end to Kamara's presidential ambition at 72?
No, I don't. I cannot say. I don't think it's an end, because when you want something, and when you have passion for the people, nothing stops you. So yeah, it still stands a chance to rule the Sierra Leone people. I always say this: there's always a small chance to win ahead of the ruling party, because at that point it is something that we can see. We can only speak of the person on the seat. We cannot speak of what is coming in. So I can say that a high chance for the ruling party to win. Yeah, but that does not stop the APC candidate from trying again in the subsequent elections and then still winning the subsequent election.
Very well. In trying again, what would be your opinion on how they should reform themselves for a future election?
I think they should work more on their manifesto and then work more on carrying people along, carrying the youths along, because I observed that majority of the people in the ruling party are youths. And when you have the youths in politics, when you have the youths backing you up in politics, there's a higher chance for you to emerge a winner. So I think he should work more on carrying the youths along, work more seeing how he can, make a better manifesto that will serve the people of Sierra Leone better in subsequent upcoming elections.
I see. Let's talk about the one who has the mandate to be able to do something about Sierra Leone now. President Bio, after his swearing in, tweeted and says the focus of my next administration shall be food security, consolidating gains in human capital development, creating jobs for our youth, revamping public service, and developing technology and infrastructure. I want to hear from you how important these things that the president has mentioned are to the survival of Sierra Leoneans.
Sorry, I didn't get to the last question.
Yes, I'm asking how important
Okay.
how important are these things that the president has mentioned: food security, human capital development, job creation, revamping the public service, developing technology and infrastructure. How important are they to the Sierra Leonean people and their survival?
To me, I see these things as basic amenities, and of course, they are very, very, very much paramount for social existence. So, yeah, it's just like if you take oxygen away from me, of course, I won't be able to survive. So, yeah, we can only hope and pray that these things are done accordingly, and then see how it can improve the livelihood of the Sierra Leone people. So it's a good a manifesto. It's a good thing for the Sierra Leone people. Very, very important for survival.
I see. But let's talk about what the challenges could be for the president himself and his administration in the second phase of him being in office. What are some of those things that could pose a challenge to him?
Some of those things I think can pose a challenge. You know, the maybe lack of the jobs for the people. He needs to start from somewhere, because I don't know how difficult it is here in Sierra Leone, but if because people generally are not patient, so if he's saying that he's going to create jobs for people and then it doesn't work that way, I think it can pose a challenge, have an adverse effect on his administration. So yeah, what I can only say is that you go through the right course, go through the right procedure, look at the implication, look at the benefits of what works, every of his plans for the Sierra Leone people, and see and benefit the Sierra Leone people in turn. So I think a slow but steady process would work, but make sure that he has the mind, the people, the heart of the people in mind.
I see. I want us to take a listen to some Sierra Leoneans on the streets, and then when we come back, we'll talk about what the possible litigations could be, because from now till the next 7 days, or from the time the results were announced, over the next 7 days, any citizen of the country could go to the courts and seek redress about the results of the election. I want us to look at what that dynamic could look like, or whether or not all Sierra Leoneans right now at this point will just want to move on. But let's take a listen to some citizens on the streets of Freetown.
In this country, Maada Bio has provided for us the free quality education. He has constructed so many bridges for us, and he is fighting the corruption in the country. So because of that, I like him. That is the reason why I voted for him. So I'm happy today. He has won the election. So I'm so happy. I'm very much excited. I really don't know what to say.
President Bio was selected the president of Sierra Leone. I'm happy right now. I'm happy right now. So can do. We are so can do. We are not so can. We are so can do.
Bio because in out of rule the country. In out of do everything. Do the peaceful. No problem. That's why I love Maada Bio.
Well, the optimism among supporters of the president and the SLPP is admirable, and Gift, you share similar optimism that things could look better in the second term of President Maada Bio. But for those who are unhappy with the outcome of the election because they claim it hasn't been transparent, it hasn't been fair, and its credibility cannot be relied upon. They have the ability to go to the courts. Now, talk to us about what those dynamics could look like over the next 7 days. Do you even see that happening at all?
There's a possibility for the opposing party to go to the courts because, of course, has right to say Sean was not credible enough. But now depends on the masses.
It's a shame we can't hear you because of the connection. The connection has really dropped, and we are unable to get a full sentence from you, but I would have loved your response to that question. All the same, we do appreciate your company with us here on Village Square Africa. We wish Sierra Leone the very best, under the Maada Bio administration. We hope that the economic fortunes that the country seeks is experienced. We also wish you a peaceful period now that, the elections are over, and there are those who are unhappy with it. But that'll be all this hour on Village Square Africa. I hope to see you here again same time tomorrow for another insightful conversation from somewhere else on the motherland. I am Kimini Amano. I'll see you again shortly. Bye bye.